I'm hoping if no benefactors pop up, I can just get into these games and be like, hey, you guys need a photographer, whatever,
We need to find some rich cougs, and you get to pick your flavor. Do you want the vanilla or
Dulce de leche.
do you want the horchata?
Oh, no. I'm
Not
a
horchata. You don't like the horchata?
I prefer dulce de leche.
Okay, there you go. A little more caramel.
Hablo español.
Welcome back to another episode of the Naturals Pod with your boy Uncle Kyle. Let's get into it. Welcome to this episode of the Naturals Pod. As always, I'm Uncle Kyle. Today we have a very special guest. In my mind, one of the most active guys in this Vegas comedy scene. If you can't find him behind the lens of a very fancy camera, you'll catch him on stage holding a mic. Welcome to the show, comedian Johnny Castillo.
Thank you for having me, Uncle Kyle. Actually, why did I call you Uncle Kyle? I don't know you that well, and all I hear is Uncle Kyle. Like, do you even have a niece?
This is a name. I have friends who have children, and I'm kind of their surrogate uncle. To answer your question, not in a creepy way, no weird shit going on, no Nickelodeon, no Diddy. But yeah, and it's just like, I'm always talking, giving advice like an uncle. Lucas Alvarez said I sound like a drunk uncle and also extremely Republican like J.D. Vance, which is not my favorite comparison, but, it is what it is.
All right, well, you can be my Theo. There you go. Theo Kyle now.
Theo Kyle, that is my second name for sure. So right off the bat, love the shirt. I was listening to A Day to Remember all day, every day, right after high school, like all the time.
Dude, I still do. If you jump in my car, it's emo night every single day. Those are just good times, good music. I don't hate the music nowadays, but you just have nostalgia for what you grew up with.
Yeah, so, I listen to way less new music than like shit that I like back in the day.
Yeah, but this is on the car 24/7. All the albums, all the singles, all the B-side tapes. No acoustics though.
I think I stopped listening after that album Homesick, but I went to watch them perform the first time they were ever in Vegas at Jillian's. Are you from here?
Yeah.
Born and raised.
No, I was here since I was 3 years old.
Basically born and raised.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I don't remember them playing at Jillian's. Must have, there was a brief time where I didn't live here because I was in the Army.
Oh, okay.
But I moved back in 2011, and I don't remember them being at Jillian's.
Yeah, it was 2007. I remember it because it was the summer after I graduated from high school, and it was them. And then the headliner was All That Remains. You ever listen to All That Remains? 6 Guitar Hero. Let's go.
But the last time I saw them was in Vegas. Was for their... Well, before when we were young. The 15 Years in the Making tour. I remember that show with them and Blink-182.
It is so disappointing to know that was more than 15 years ago.
It is. I'm thinking it was like last week, and no, that's a decade.
I've always loved going to like the more independent shows, like versus going to a big concert in a big arena and shit. But that one at Jillian's was wild because I saw a kid just straight get his arm snapped in half, and then he was still in there like, yeah.
See, those were the hardcore days when you mosh pit and stuff, and people remember people they did mosh, but they would throw the punches, the swinging, the kicks and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that shit. Are you a swinger in the pit?
No, I would watch it, but I would never jump into that. Because it's like the kicks they do, the high kicks, the spinning kicks. Like, nah, I'm good. I'm not that hardcore. And like the mosh pits nowadays are so tame now. Like these people just bumping, pushing, shoving. And it's all right. I'll jump into those at this age, but even then, it's like I almost had a heart attack at the last emo night I went to because of that shit.
I wouldn't know. I stay away from that. The older I get, I gotta have low impact hobbies. This being the main one. I make leather crafts. I got a pretty physical job. I work in construction, so I got to kind of keep it tight for that, or at least to be able to have the ability to go make a check and.
Yeah, you're doing things the right way. Have a job and follow your dreams, versus a lot of us are like, have no job and follow your dreams.
I mean, that's all in. That's really going for it when you think about it.
On one side, yeah, like all right, I'm gonna chase my dream. Like I'm gonna do it all. But then there's like people who chase the dream but don't chase it. They tell them people, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a comedian, I'm gonna be a rapper, but they're not actually like chasing it every day.
No.
There's so much stuff you have to do where you don't get paid at like so many shows you got to hang out with people just to network. You're not getting paid for those 2, 3, 4 hours you're hanging out. Might be losing money, but it's good to have a job in the day. Like, all right, I'm gonna go. What do you do for construction?
I'm an electrician, union electrician, IBW 357. Let's go.
Okay, all right. So you're one of those light construction workers.
Light construction workers?
Because like construction workers for me, and majority of people always think of like the people jackhammers breaking down the walls. You were the smart. I should say smart construction worker.
I mean, we say skilled trades. Listen, I don't hate on anybody.
No, yeah.
The guys that do the concrete, I was working on Raiders when they were pouring the decks, and we were doing embedded stuff in the concrete. That's a tough fucking job. Being an iron worker, tough job. Like, I respect it. There's a reason I didn't do that,
No, I get that. It's like when I joined the Army, because I scored high on my ASVABs, and I could have done a nice, cushy desk job joining the Air Force, and I was like, no, I'll be a comm engineer. I want to see action and stuff. But looking back, like, if I had the opportunity to do a nice, soft, cushy job, collect a paycheck, I should have done it. But
sometimes the glory ain't worth it. The exchange is the physical scars and stuff. What made you get into that? Is that a family trade? Do you have family who have done the armed services, or were you just like, I'm going to try this out?
So here in the U.S., I'm the only one who's tried it out. I actually have, on my dad's side, mostly family in the police, military over there.
Okay, so you got a background of doing
but I didn't
similar to that.
But I didn't really know about it, because I grew up here. So, but it turns out I guess it does run the family. My dad always told me he thought about joining too, but he had a bad knee, so he couldn't. So yeah, it was pretty good times.
I have a real problem with listening and authority. I'm respectful, I like to keep it in between the lines most of the time, but I would have gotten eaten up and spit out in the military. They would have fucked me up. I might have not even made it through the basic training, because I heard that shit is rough.
Yeah, it's a mental. It's just someone purposely getting on your nerves, purposely trying to piss you off, trying to get you to break down. And there's a lot of people just like you who's like, oh, no authority. And then they join, and then all they have to do is just shut up and do what they're told. And if they get yelled at, all right, I got yelled at, whatever. Like, after 8-9 weeks, it's done. And then they're normal people. So a lot of people say that, and they turn out to be pretty good. Really good. They're like, they just turn it off, like, whatever. Just do what they say. And they turn out to be pretty good leaders themselves when they get to that part.
I'd be broken like wild horses. But to that point, it's tough, because part of my job as a union electrician is to teach. I'm supposed to bring up the next generation. And sometimes I have had apprentices who are older than me. There's a lot of guys where it was essentially a second shot at a career, if you will. A lot of the guys that were in my class had desk jobs and stuff. I worked at Lowe's. I was 24 when I got in. So I wasn't too into anything else. I had tried being a diesel mechanic before that, and the recession and everything hit, and that didn't really pan out and shit. But you gotta have some discipline. You gotta be teachable. If you're a little asshole kid and you're why this, why that, or I put you on something that you don't want to do, or I tell you to sweep the floor, just sweep the fucking floor. Like, don't give me any guff. Just do it. Like, it's one day you're gonna be telling somebody else to sweep the floor, and don't be a prick when you do it.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the new guys, younger guys, like, why do I gotta do that? Why do I gotta do that? And I was one of them. I got smoked a lot because of that. But half the time,
tons of push-ups. Got a strong chest,
dude. I could knock out so many push-ups like nothing. But sorry, I'm not sick. I'm just
no COVID.
I'm just one of those people. I get a cough in December and it sticks with me till November. It sucks. But no, yeah, I don't know how many times I would just ask why, because half the time I'm just curious, like, oh, why do I gotta do that? Like, not because why do I gotta, like, well, why do we gotta do that? Like, it doesn't make sense. But a lot of times, like, majority of things you do don't make sense, but you just have to do it, and it sucks. It's like that. But yeah, I would have been bugging you on the job. Like, why do I gotta sweep? Don't we do electricity, dude? Like, what's up?
I like to think that I'm a pretty good teacher, but also I'm just somebody who, and maybe you're the same way, because, like, if people can't tell by this camera angle right here, how crispy I look, you were kind enough to bring over some of your equipment so I could experiment with that and, see what the next level of video is. But I'm just the kind of person that, like, I can teach myself and I can learn, but I can't really tell you how I did it, Like, I have a hard time communicating that and making you understand it.
Oh, yeah. And many times people, like, tell me, like, I don't know what you're talking about. But then I do it. Like, oh, okay. I'm better to show you how to do it. Don't ask me to tell you. Let me show you.
Visual learner and / teacher.
So I did the Army, went to Colorado Springs, did one deployment. I was active only like 3 years, and I came home. And after that, I just worked in IT. I got a associate's degree in computer networking. So I worked at UPS, did their customer service, did the internal customer service. So if your package was late between, like 2009, 2014, not my fault.
Were you emailing or were you dealing with unhappy people on the phone and shit?
So half my time there, angry people. Then I went to the back where I started working on the internal support system. So all the routes, the machines that sort the packages, I was dealing with that kind of stuff. Then I ended up going to the school district because I'm like, I get a summer off every year. I'll take it.
Teaching?
No. I was on the school's network.
Or doing IT. Okay, cool.
And that was the one thing that saw me going to the school because I get 1 month off in the summer. 2 if I got hired at an elementary school. Unpaid, but I was like, 1 month off, I'll take it.
Yeah, for sure. Guaranteed every year. You can go on sabbatical. You can go on your own eat, pray, love tour, or whatever 3 verbs you want to get into. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Every year, like, you have that point at your job where you're like, man, I hate this. I just want to quit. And every year, June, just make it to June. And that's not why I got out, but I think it was like a good timing because I was just burnt out on IT. Those kids, man, those kids.
Yeah, fuck kids. Other than some kids are okay, but
not
the majority,
not the subway way, not the subway way though. Like
exactly, no Jared.
Yeah, just no stepdad vibes over here.
Terrible. That is the one thing I like about working in construction. I have had some pretty long ones. I did Raiders, like I told you. I was at Fontainebleau for like 18 months. That job was a fucking nightmare. Oh my God.
I thought you were going to say 18 years.
No.
That thing took forever.
I just walked around the building for 18 years collecting a check the entire time.
Like, this is where we're going to put the wire. This is where I'll stand put in the wire.
Oh, man. The place was gross because they had security. When it was just a shell, they had like security that would walk the property to make sure people weren't camping out in there. But it didn't mean that they didn't get in. There was some hobo scum lurking. That shit was like a scene out of a Resident Evil horror video game or something.
Yeah, man, tourists are crazy, man. It's tourists.
But yeah, whatever. Like, construction is good. Getting to move around. I'll probably end up doing something boring because they're constantly ripping out and remodeling the towers and trying to put a fresh face on debauchery.
When are they going to redo Circus? Because I feel like that's what's holding it back. The convention center, the new spot's nice. Fontainebleau's nice. Sahara, they went through their second renovation. They're looking good now. But Circus out just holding them back.
I think they're waiting for somebody to buy the property because the land is worth more than the building. They were repainting the pink and white fake tent out front when I was working at Fontainebleau, and I was like, oh, we're painting that? We're not just going to tear this piece of shit down?
I mean, lipstick on a pig, right? So what I heard, though, is that Circus has an amazing steakhouse.
They do. That's a fact.
Yeah, maybe that's what's just keeping them going, the steakhouse. So I want to try it. Someone should buy us dinner at a steakhouse. Do a live sitting at Circus Steakhouse.
If you're watching and you'd like to come enjoy a steak and listen to us talk while we record it, email me, thenaturalspod@gmail.com. Let us know. So, by the time this is going to be airing, football season is going to get started. Are you a football guy? Any sports?
I do like sports. Football, I follow it. I'm not a diehard fan, but I keep up with it now and then. The team I claim is actually the Broncos.
Oh, okay. So, coincidentally, wearing my Broncos shit. Yeah.
But now that the Raiders are here, I got to say Raiders are my team.
Okay, that's cool. I respect it.
Local pride,
I'm not against them doing well. Like, I'm very loose with the football. I'm a fair weather fan. Like, when they're having a good year, or when they had Peyton Manning and they were like getting in the playoffs and going to the Super Bowl and shit, hooray. If you suck, I'm probably not going to watch you that much. This jersey's definitely been balled up and thrown in a corner multiple times, so,
Yeah, I feel that, yeah. I've never I haven't been to a game here in Vegas yet at the stadium. Have you?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, not a Raiders game, but my dad, not trying to dox him, he works for UNLV, so he got
Ooh.
tickets to the UNLV Reno game when they're like they're
Nice.
going for the cannon and
Yeah,
shit,
yeah.
and they ended up winning. The stadium is dope. You got to get out to a game. The tickets to the NFL games are insane. Like they're expensive. So I don't know about that.
If anybody wants to keep
We're
plugging.
putting all the calls out. If you'd like to take us to a Raiders game and we'll sneak the equipment in to do a podcast mid football game, let us know.
My Amazon wish list will be posted.
Yeah. We'll put it up right here. You know, just click the link, buy some stuff, support Las Vegas creators. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be sick. But it was funny when we went because, you know, you've lived here pretty much your whole life. You know, like historically the Rebels have kind of sucked. They had like the 90s where they had the basketball team, the running Rebels with Tarkanian and all of that.
Yeah, that was a good run. But after that, like you're right, it just kind of we were nowhere really.
They're just not very good. The football has never been anything great. But I was like, because I'd never, even when they played at the old Sam Boyd Stadium and stuff, I had never gone to a game live. And I want to say this was like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. So my dad's like, I got tickets to the game. Let's go. We go. They immediately get down by 2 touchdowns. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like the one game I come to, you can't like have a good performance, but they did end up coming back and winning, and it was epic because we were on the UNR side, and everybody over there hated me. And are you a hockey guy? You like the Knights?
So again, I like the Knights because I am a Vegas person, so I got a local pride. But my team growing up, Anaheim Ducks. That was my team growing up. And
was it because of the Mighty Ducks?
Yeah.
Of course it was. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I watched that movie. I watched the first one. I loved it. I watched the second one. Loved it.
The Flying V.
Yeah.
The Knuckle Puck. They went to the fucking Olympics and defeated Iceland. The sweet or the whatever the hell they are. The Nordic Devils. Whatever. That shit was great.
Yeah.
America.
It was, and I watched the cartoons. Like I was a Ducks fan as a kid, like huge Ducks fan. I've been to a couple Knights game. I have not been to any Anaheim Ducks game. So please, you can't hate me at least, all right? Because I'm trying to stay the local favorite.
Yeah, they'll definitely be playing the Ducks. They're in the same division, so we should get some tickets to that. I haven't gone to as much hockey lately. But yeah.
I've been to more hockey games than the football games. I like the arena. It's not bad. I can't compare it to the stadium, but the arena's pretty good.
Nah, I enjoy the games. I mean, we were actually at the Stanley Cup game, one where they won it. I was in a bar, and it was right before.
So you weren't in the game then?
Huh? I wasn't playing in the game.
No. I thought you meant you were like in the game, like in the stadium.
I was.
But you were at the bar.
No. I was in that motherfucker. I bought seats. I spent like $3,000 on these seats to go to the game. But like before that, I was at the bar the game before.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to buy tickets to one of the games, but they're so expensive. So I'm sitting there with my buddy, and I'm like, do I pull the trigger on this shit and put $3,000 on a credit card so me, my dad, and my sister can go watch them potentially win the cup? And he's like, you better buy them before the game, because if they win this one, those ticket prices are going to go up. And that's exactly what happened. And then we got to go. I'll probably like put a couple of pictures up because it's cool.
Nice, dude. That was so monumental. And how we almost won it in the first year.
Yeah. That would have been fucking magical if they would have made that happen.
And then somebody was at the time showing me a picture of how the last 3 teams to be added to the NHL won their initials in their inaugural season. And between the first 2 times, it was 50 years apart. And I don't know if that's what jinxed it, but somebody was showing like, hey, well, this is a new team. Their inaugural season, 50 years apart.
Yeah.
They got to win it.
All of the elements were there. But the owner, Foley, I guess I'm a bad Nevadan or Las Vegan for not knowing his first name. Whatever. Rich guy, owns the team. He, like, before they even played the first game, said we're gonna win a cup within 6 years, and that was the 6th year. So that's kind of like that's a fucking mic drop moment, dude.
I mean, they had so much going for them. Really, brand new team. They're pulling players left and right. They're no one knows anything about them.
They were fucking money balling it after the what's his name, Billy.
I don't know. I'm bad with names too, man. I'm horrible, but no, like really, it's true. Like we had. I mean, I know people like were giving shit because like, oh, they're a brand new team. They get to pick whoever they want from their team.
Yeah, everybody's fucking haters, especially when you're doing well, like right off the bat.
Yeah, but I mean, there were still things in place. Like those teams got to protect certain players. There was a bunch of things that didn't just make it in our favor. But we just had so much. Like I said, no one knew what our weaknesses was because we had nothing. You know, nobody knew what our strength was either because we had nothing. So we could really build something, and they did it right. They built it right. They could have just been like another brand new team, just bring in whoever, whatever, just to make money, you know? Yeah. And they did it right. 6 years.
And the players are hella cool. I've gone to a couple of the meet and greets. When my mom was sick with cancer, Shea Theodore did one, and he recorded a video for my mom, which was super thoughtful. He stayed like for hours to make sure everybody met him. Nice. Hockey players are hell of a guys, dude.
Right,
they're good dudes.
Yeah, man, no DUIs right now.
I mean, hopefully not. Shit, dude.
Yeah, nah, man. I would love to go to another game. So let's make that happen. So if anybody,
we need to get like some rich benefactors to the pod so they could just pay for us to go do fun shit.
For real. You don't gotta be rich, you know. We'll do things.
Mildly wealthy, or we will work for tickets.
I will.
Nothing sexual though.
I will. I will do odd jobs or things like that though. It's kind of like that's kind of why I've been liking because I've been doing the camera stuff I've had them 3-4 years and I mostly did things for me. Adam, Kool-Aid, who've been on the podcast, check out their specials,
helping the homies out. I mean, I'm gonna take a picture of it and I'll put it up so people can see. But like the camera rig is insane. We got accessories on that thing.
It's all right. There's room to upgrade, but I like the simplicity of the camera. It gets what I need to get done. It does look pretty cool. People always like, oh, dude, what do you got there? And I'm always like, there's a little something.
Yeah. But I mean, it's great because it serves two purposes. It's a hobby and it's something you like, and then also like people will hire you to use the equipment.
Exactly. So I've been filming people's comedy sets. They've been purchasing that. My services for that. Been doing photos. So I'm hoping if no benefactors pop up, I can just get into these games and be like, hey, you guys need another photographer, whatever,
We need to find some rich cougs, and you get to pick your flavor. Do you want the vanilla or,
dulce de leche.
Do you want the horchata?
No.
I'm not horchata? You don't like the horchata?
I prefer dulce de leche.
Okay, there you go. A little more caramel.
Hablo español.
But yeah, it's great, man. Like I said, the first time I seen you setting that up at Kimmel's, I was like, man, my man's got the rig. And then speaking of Kool-Aid and Adam, I seen on Instagram and stuff that you guys went to Texas. Like you've been doing some traveling, doing some comedy on the road. Tell us about it.
Yeah, definitely more so Adam. Kool-Aid, he's been good with taking me on the road too. Me and him recently started bonding more the last couple years, but Adam's taking me on the road more. He was like I have a joke about it, but he was the first person to actually invite me on the road, and actually do comedy. It wasn't just like, hey, tag along. He was the first one like, hey, come on, you can do this spot, blah blah blah. I had to be the door guy as well, but I still got a spot,
Yeah, I mean it's the comedy is super competitive, and you got to kind of do what you have to do to get your foot in the door, which is kind of what you were saying before we started recording, like. Doing the videography and stuff is just another avenue where you can get your name out there and create opportunities for yourself. It's a hustle, man. You got to stay on that grind.
Exactly, because a lot of people unless they see me at a place, especially like the open mics, I am a big introvert. I am.
Same.
One comic when he told me one day, he's like, he saw me in the back of the bar just playing on my phone on the slots and stuff. Like, wow, you really are an introvert just back here. Like, yeah, man. Like, I know I joke about it, but there's truth to it. So this has actually been great because it's a job, I can make some money off of it. I can make some content. And it's great for networking because I can just, I need a camera guy. hey, I'm your camera guy. Nice to meet you. Hey, by the way, I do stand up too. I don't just film it. I can do it. You know, it's great.
Yeah, and I mean, it's great for me because we will do stuff together in the future. Because I mean, now that I'm doing all of this shit, solo dole, the social media, the editing, the recording, the hosting, you know, everything. Anytime I can work with a friend and, you know, we can both make something beneficial out of it, that's the sweet spot.
And I'm Latino, so I'm cheap, you know?
Not because of that.
But it is. No, yeah. I like it, you know? I mean, when you travel with someone you're friends with and that you like, the road is not really like being on the road. I mean, obviously, El Paso. When I came back from El Paso with Kool-Aid, we drove straight. We didn't stop. We stopped to eat and gas, but we drove straight 10 plus hours. And it wasn't even that bad of a drive. Because
I fucking hate long car trips.
I do too, but when you're with people, you can just, you know, you hang out with the comics. You see them, like, we don't stop joking. Even about serious topics. You know, someone's mom's dying. We're still joking about it. And we're like, in good nature, of course, you know, rest in peace. But,
your mom's dead. Sorry.
Yeah, you can write a joke about it now. Like that's we don't. It doesn't turn off, but once you get to know us, you're like, you know, we're not being dicks about it. You're like, that's just how we communicate, you know.
Yeah.
So,
and that's kind of like an ideal situation where you can work on different bits, or you might even come up with whole new ones with your buddies. You know, how often does that happen? Where you're like, you can keep that.
It happens quite a bit, actually. It happens quite a bit. It happened last time, like I said, with Kool-Aid in the car. We were joking. So, is this how PG is this podcast?
I have paywall stuff, but I mean, you can cuss. It's cool. Anything can be edited out. I mean, there are certain things that YouTube.
Well, there's some incriminating story. Then we might have to put this behind the paywall.
Okay.
But no, we went to El Paso with Kool-Aid. Me and him drove to El Paso. Adam was flying in. You know, we get there first night. We go up. I think Kool-Aid actually told the story on his podcast. I'm not sure. I watched part of it, but I do my set. You know, I do all right. Kool-Aid goes up. He does his set, and he makes the joke about doing cocaine off his own titty, right? And after this show, people are just coming up to him and like, "Oh my god, that was so good!" And in their hand, they're sliding him some coke, right?
Oh, okay.
and well, no, they're asking, like, "Do you need?" Like, no, I don't need it. I don't need it. He's like, no, here you go. We're not selling it to you. We're giving it to you. He's like, oh shit. And he was given so much coke, and all I'm gonna say is I'm never gonna do coke again, unless I'm in El Paso.
He said it's medicinal, dude. That's the way he put it when he was sitting right where you are. That shit is.
I've tried some. I've tried some out from here. Tried some from California. I've been trying a lot lately. I mean, not a lot, not like a lot, but I've been trying it. And El Paso, it's.
I can't, dude. I mean, hey, whatever.
Don't.
We're getting a little candid here. So I had a friend over, who's not really a part of this, but I was just working on the computer. I had a couple buddies over. We were chilling. He's a pretty straight-laced guy usually, and he's just like, "Hey, Kyle, I've been doing the yayo." And like, you're so motherfucking white. The yayo. And like, I mean, he might see this, but I'm not cracking on you, buddy. But you made me laugh. And yeah, he was hitting that shit up. I've just never done it, dude, ever. I like weed occasionally. Alcohol, that's pretty much it. Because I just know I'd go crazy, dude. I'd be a fucking wild man.
It's I mean, if you don't do it, I wouldn't recommend doing it. And if you were ever you know, gun to your head in a position you had to do it, I would hope you be in El Paso to do the cleanest stuff ever.
I'm never going to El Paso because a gun to my head doing cocaine sounds like a fucking crazy like cartel movie or something.
That would make a great podcast episode. That would be. But, oh no! I mean,
the title: I was captured by the cartel.
I would not recommend people do drugs. Do not do drugs.
Forced to party.
Yeah, do not. I was at least fortunate enough to experiment with people I trust and know.
Yeah, and it was a safe experience. Like that's the best case scenario, 100%.
But I wouldn't recommend doing it. Like I don't.
I love the disclaimer right afterwards.
I don't do it. I'm not like going out every weekend. I'm not doing it. I even cut down on drinking. I used to drink a lot. it can be fun, but I'm at like we're older now, so
You gotta have balance in life. Balance.
yeah, I want to wake up the next day feeling okay. I want to pay my bills.
Not with the taste of batteries in your mouth and.
Well, yeah,
I've
Paso
heard the
doesn't taste like that.
but I've heard the come down off of that is very, very aggressive.
So I was explaining to someone the quality of it, right? Like, so I tried the one out in Vegas from some people, a couple people. One I tried, instantly like got a nosebleed doing it, right? And it wasn't like a bad nose. It wasn't bad.
Sounds like a bad sign.
Yeah, but it wasn't like horrible. It wasn't like whatever. But I started getting bloody nose.
Yeah, like oh shit, I'm bleeding.
Yeah, diarrhea.
Oh.
But the one, but
diarrhea.
Yeah, it wasn't like horrible bad, but it was like if I had to fart,
like
no
one of
chances.
those drug commercials where at the end they're like may cause light anal bleeding and uncontrollable sneezing. Like oh shit.
Yeah, the come down side, and again, I don't recommend it. But if you ever have to do a gun to your head, hope you're in El Paso because that one, no bloody nose, no congestion, no boogers. Woke up the next day feeling fine, no diarrhea. Like honestly, I woke up and I'm like, did we even do cocaine? I feel fine. But
Medicinal, you heard it here first. Oh shit.
The only reason I know it was we did cocaine is because we talked about everything you can possibly talk about that night. We talked so much, we ended up talking about the WNBA because we had nothing to talk about.
The WNBA's popping right now, dude.
Yeah,
Caitlin Clark.
That's what we were talking about. We were talking about why did she make it to the Olympics?
That does seem kind of like some hater shit. And then there's that other one that is also a rookie, Angela
Reese. Yeah.
She's just a bitter woman. She is so upset that she is not the center of attention. But it's like, I'm a union man. What's good for you? What's good for her is good for you. If she's making the sport more popular, they're selling out arenas now.
Yeah.
What the WNBA? Like, come on.
Yeah. No, I saw that. I forgot who talked about it. But they were saying something about, I can't remember the exact quote, but they were making the same comment like, it was about the pay scale, like, oh, LeBron, KD, Anthony Davis, they make so much, but these women are they're selling out arenas too, blah, blah, blah. Like, not really, they're just now doing it.
Yeah,
like,
and it's not on the same level.
Yeah.
It's not even fucking close, money-wise.
But once they get that viewership, all the teams have sold out arenas, and it gets to the popularity of the NBA, then they'll get the pay. Like, do they deserve to be paid equally as the men? If you got the talents, then yes, you should be paid equally. But they don't
Compensation is based on what the market will bear. I just recently got, I think, like a $3 an hour raise. We get pretty chunky, juicy raises in the union. It's fucking nice.
Didn't you get laid off?
That non-related.
Like, wait, we just gave him a raise.
No, like the nature of the workout here is very cyclical, and unless you're somebody who's like gotten on steady with a company, you just kind of like know when it's your time to go. Like, hopefully there is stuff coming up like the next couple years. I should be able to just work. They're building the baseball stadium. Are you a baseball guy?
I mean,
fuck, I don't like baseball personally. But
I like the movies about baseball. They make it more interesting.
Makes a great movie. Sandlot, Field of Dreams.
Yep.
A League of Their Own. Great fucking movies.
Yeah, I was just watching Field of Dreams the other day on TikTok. That's how I watch most movies. Like, do I want to watch it? If it comes up on TikTok, I'll just follow the rabbit hole, and if there's enough credible clips, like I'll watch the full movie.
I do the same thing on. I don't do TikTok as much because China, like, no thank you. I do have a page on there that I just post the clips. You know what, Mike? Like, we need to get on the same page here. All right, cool, we're good now. But I mostly do that on YouTube. I'm the same way. I'll see a bunch of connected clips, and then I'll see the movie pop up on Netflix or whatever the fuck it is, and I'm like, should I watch the whole thing? Nah, fuck it. I've basically already seen it. So
yeah. And that's true. I watched the movie, like, seen it, fast forward. Oh, this is boring, fast forward. So I'm glad TikTok, and that's why I like TikTok, because you can just, like, click on it and follow it, versus on the Reels on Instagram, I can't click on it and follow it. And
God, they make it so convenient for us to be just sucked into our phones all day. I hate it so much.
I know.
But going back to Kool-Aid getting blessed by people after the show.
Before I forget, so when you were talking about, you can have that bit, the Caitlin Clark joke, I said, like, we talked so much about the NBA. I gave him claims to that joke. We came up at the same time, like, oh, you can have it though.
Oh, okay,
So,
cool. I like that though. Comedy should be collaborative. Comedians should help one another like get better and grow.
Yeah.
Like multiple minds working on comedy for one person is better than one. I mean that applies to many things. But that shit is hella funny because I don't do it as much now that I got all this stuff going on with the pod. But like I watch a lot of TVs. There's a lot of series that I like. But there's this one called Brockmire. Have you ever heard of that?
I don't think so.
It's kind of like a deep cut. It's about a guy who's like a disgraced sports announcer. He worked for the Kansas City Royals fictionally in the show. And it's kind of like about his like return to like doing sports and stuff. It's like a redemption story, but he's like an insanely huge alcoholic and he does like drugs and shit. Like this man lives hard. Well, in the second or third season, he ends up like having a podcast where he performs in front of a live audience and just gets shit faced and tells these crazy stories. And people after the show will like give him expensive bottles of liquor and bags of Coke and shit. They're like, here you go.
Nice. If anybody wants to go, I'm just trying to get free stuff from people.
Just know, like, for the most part, if you're willing to offer us something for free, the answer is yes.
Do with that as you will.
So how long would you say have you been doing the comedy? And what's the connection there with you and Adam and Kool-Aid? Because they both come from Texas. You're from here. Before you told me that, I would have assumed that you came from Texas with them because it seems like y'all are tight.
I know we bonded well, and everyone says the same thing. Like they meet me like, "Oh, you're from Texas too?" Like, no, I'm from here. I met them here in Vegas, but so I've been in comedy about 6 years, and the way I met Adam was like most people at the mics and stuff. At the time I was like 1-2 years in, and this is back then they used to do more headlining gigs at the open mics. Like when the Fun Day shows would have feature mics, they would do those more often. So that's how I met them. I got a picture when I first met Khalid after the show. I was all baby faced in it, and so was he. Always looking like a baby. So that's how I met him. Same thing with Adam, and then just later on through the shows, the same joke. Where Adam takes me on the road.
Yeah.
I all kind of started around the same night. I go up on stage. I'm doing those horrible, dark jokes, the dick jokes that everybody thinks like, oh, I can make it work when you first start off, that you really can't, But it's a phase we go through. And he just pulls me to the side. He gives me tips on the jokes. And I've never really talked to him before that. But he was nice enough to just pull me off and like, hey, I like the joke you're doing there. Try do this, do that. Try. He's giving me tips. And again, I've never really talked to the guy. And then after that, we just he was doing live streams and stuff. And we just talk, and we just go over and hang out. And then one day, we just like, next thing oh, cool.
Adam's a fucking comedian, dude. Hell of a guy, dude. Love Adam.
And then with Kool-Aid, because they were roommates long ago, and then they took a break, and then got roommates again. They're on and off again, those guys.
It's tough. I'm tough to be around regularly, clearly, because now I'm doing this shit alone, but you don't want to live with me for a long, long period of time. Like, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, I feel for your dad, man.
I love you, Dad.
But no, it was the same. Kool-Aid, just by association, hanging out with Adam Moore, we bonded and stuff, and we found out we had things in common. We bonded over a porn star in El Paso, weirdly enough, too.
But hold on. Elaborate on that. How are we bonding over a porn star? Did you meet the porn star? Were you talking about the porn star? Were you watching the porn star?
No, maybe yes. No, I forget how we were talking about something, right? And then, we're making jokes about stuff, right? So somewhere along the line, we made a joke related to porn. It was about a food porn, right? And he's like, he was like, it was the one chick with the cupcakes. And I'm like, wait, was that the chick with the cupcake? And then her husband saw her. And then like, wait, and in the scene. So we just realized we had watched the same one. Oh, God. And then like, with Natasha Nice. And we're like, so that's how we're like, all right. We have the same browser history, I guess. Natasha Nice, if you're watching this, can we get an autograph?
Me too. Yeah.
But and then we realized like just comparing like, oh wait, you follow this person, I follow this person, and bonded to.
Oh yeah.
We didn't watch it together.
So I like what you said because it is definitely something that I noticed early on. I'm a pretty quick study. I'm like I pick it up pretty quickly. Hence the name, The Naturals. But that is a sign of someone who is very early in comedy, is doing the toilet humor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if you're watching this and you're early in comedy, get away from that shit as quickly as possible. Find things that are more personal and true to you. That's the funny shit. Some of it can be dirty or a little gross, but
it'll come to you because some of those jokes have actually evolved and they make it to my set now. But I don't tell them in the same way I used to tell them.
Yeah, you refine it.
Yeah. So I mean, I would never tell anyone to stop doing what you're doing, but maybe take a step away from it, take a pause, try something different.
A more positive take.
Because like, I mean, like the jokes I used to do, like, oh man, like looking back, man, why did I think that was funny? And I make it work now, and it works in a different way. And I realized, okay, I might like that style of comedy, but it is not my style of comedy.
I mean, in my opinion, comedy is a game of maturity. Like, I feel like we're at the prime age for comedy and things related to it, if that makes any sense. Because you need to have some experiences in life. You need to have stories to tell. You need to be able to relate across multiple generations of people so you can make your shit as universal as it can possibly be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
you got to be relatable to the crowd. You got to have something that, even if like your jokes are not, like if I'm doing you know, if I'm at like some feminist meeting, you know, obviously I can't be doing the dick jokes, you know, unless
have you played a feminist meeting?
No. But what I'm saying is, like, if I'm there and they're like, oh, women's rights, men suck, blah blah, I can't be doing like, oh, men are better, you know.
You got to cater it to the crowd.
Yes, or I got to win them in my favor to let them know where I'm coming from, and they're like, oh yeah, okay, I can see why men think they're funny, whatever. I
think that's one of the greatest skills to have as a comedian is like taking something you know the audience hates and still just spinning it just enough to where they'll let you tell the joke and they'll laugh at it and they won't get all like ass hurt and upset.
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta be relatable enough that they can see from your point of view what you're talking about. Like an argument, you know, like you argue with someone and they're like, yes, no, and they're like, they're so stuck, but you gotta make them see it through your point of view and not be upset. Like, okay, I see where you're coming from, and you got a point. I don't agree with it, but I'll laugh. You know?
This honestly for me is a very selfish endeavor. It's just kind of like take it or leave it, because like I said, before we started recording, and I've said it on the pod many times, I am doing this because people have told me I should. Not even close friends, strangers, people who I don't even know their fucking names. So it's
I get it, peer pressure. I get it.
But I just needed a hobby so badly, another one.
This is a safe one for a white guy to have, to be honest. Good for you.
What, a comedy podcast?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'm an introvert as well, you know.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it is a good hobby to have, especially like introvert. You can reach so many people, and I've always been back in the day, like when AOL and AIM was popular, you know, chat rooms and stuff. So being
I encountered some situations retroactively. I'm like, I could have been in danger when I was a young person.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
No, definitely.
Shout out to AIM.
Yeah, if you want to, I'm done with that joke. I'm done with that. But it is good because you can put yourself out there and you get people, you get followers. They watch your podcast. So many people out there relatable to you. It's doing the same thing. People are like, you should have a podcast, and they're like, no, I'm not that funny. Blah blah blah. And then they watch you, and you know, you tell them your stories, and they're like, cool, I'm gonna start my own, and it just snowballs. You know, keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a student of the game. I'm constantly looking at other podcasts, and this is going to sound biased because it is, but also I feel like it's true. Like, I really have a gift for this. I could sit here and talk to anybody. I'm just spoiled in the fact that, like, we have this cool comedy scene, and you guys are willing to come over and collaborate, and it's like, I don't have to, it's not like pulling teeth getting conversation out of you. You guys come here to talk, tell me your stories, tell me about your lives, tell me about what you're interested in. We talk about whatever.
Yeah, and that's why I was actually, when I reached out to you to do it, because I've seen your guys' videos, I've seen you guys around interacting. I'm like, and I get a good vibe from you guys. Like, I'll do their podcast. I won't, because like, even I get it. Comedy, you have to be networking and out social, But even I'm still picky. Like, well, who do I want to interact with? Like, there's some people, nothing
Yeah,
negative, but I just don't get a vibe.
Yeah. Without getting too deep into it, I agree with that. But also, at the same time, like I've spoken about this to a lot of people. I've definitely put out a few pleas. Like, I want to network. I want to promote your stuff. I want you to promote my stuff. I want us all to win. This does not have to be a competition.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where a lot of comedians make a mistake, is where they're like, it's me versus everyone. But it's like,
Yeah.
no.
A lot of people do see it that way. They're like, well, why does he book him but doesn't book me? And half the time it could be because he doesn't even know who you are. You never come out. You never say hi. Other half the time you might just not be ready. You know, like I can understand
Fair.
when like with Adam, like I've asked him sometimes on certain shows, and you know he doesn't select me or doesn't think about me because he's trying to put on a good show, and might not fit that show.
Yeah.
You know,
He's looking out for you. He's mentoring you in a sense that he's trying to put you in front of an audience where you're going to be able to, work your material, get good reactions out of it, and also kind of figure out like, hey, maybe I'm going to change this or that. Or
yeah, and it depends on the production level. You know, like open mic, sure I can get my spots there. You know, I'm comfortable enough to get through that. On bigger shows, it's like, oh, it's a big production. I need to have killers. All right, cool. I'm not the killer level yet. And I don't take it personally. I'm not like thinking, why doesn't he think I'm not good enough? I'm not. I'm like, okay, he thinks I'm not good enough, tells me I need to get better. I have more room to improve. So like people
motivation.
So like if anyone's like you're getting upset because you're not getting booked for a show, like I said, you're probably just not ready. Honestly, like look at yourself and think, can I actually do the 15, 20, 30 minutes they're asking me and do it good? Just because you have 30 minutes of material does not mean it's good material. You can have 30 minutes and only 5 of it is actually funny. So be honest with yourself. Take that ego check. And the other half is like they probably just don't know you. They probably never met you. They probably didn't see you. Nope. How many people in the scene are there that I still haven't met? But I follow their socials because they're just coming up. But I haven't met them yet. I haven't been to certain shows yet. You know?
I mean, I try to reach out to everybody. You know, when I'm working, I did there for a period of time. I was going to a lot of mics, which is cool. I like to get out and support everybody, especially when you've been on the pod. But for me, I kind of figured out recently that I did do comedy once, and I put the video on YouTube, which was cool. I like wrote a set and worked on it and changed things and practiced it and stuff. It was very rehearsed, and I tried it again on Saturday, and I just realized like, this is not for me. It's just not something I want to, because like, I'd like to think that I'm pretty resilient. Derek would say I have too big of an ego, which I suppose there's a certain level of truth in that, but I don't know. Like, I just couldn't. I have a lot of respect for you guys that do get on stage, because I just couldn't repeatedly like feel that way. I felt shitty, dude. Like I thought I was gonna do well, and it kind of fell apart, and I bombed. Johnny said there's no bombing in an open mic, but you know.
Well, there really isn't. Like, if you think you bombed at an open mic, you didn't really bomb. You just learned not to do those jokes. But even I used to feel bad when I would bomb at open mics, but I realized a lot of these open mics, they're other comics. Half of them aren't really listening to your set; they're just waiting for their time.
Yep.
And then the other half of the comics are kind of listening, but they're not giving you feedback. You know, so they're being analytical a little bit. They're listening to your joke, and they're trying to figure out, he does this joke kind of similar to mine. How can I make mine stand out more?
Yeah.
So it's when you go to an open mic where there's a crowd and you bomb there, then you can feel bad.
There was like a dozen dudes from England that were there. They were not comics.
Oh, so they probably just couldn't understand you, you know?
No, they did. They kind of roasted me a little bit, and Johnny did. But like I said, I don't take that shit personally. It was just kind of like a realization. And also, I mean, fuck it. Now that it's not going to happen, I might as well just talk about it. Derek and I had a project, you know, because we're doing this thing. We kind of felt like we were rogues, because initially I was going out to mics. We were going out. We were hitting people up on Instagram. Some people just ignored us. A lot of people were very standoffish and stuff. And I get it, because I guess in a certain sense, we don't have any skin in the game because we're not comedians. You know, we're just doing the podcast thing. But we want to collaborate with the community. We can all grow and do shit together and stuff. But anyways, it was kind of like a little vindictive thought that I had where I was like, I could fucking do it. I'm funny. I could like write some shit and like so I was going to do 12 of them. I was going to do just like the first one, and hopefully it wouldn't have been like as rehearsed or like preachy sound. Because I mean, it sounded like I had the words memorized, you know what I'm saying? But like do it 12 times and then have like an hour and then maybe get like a small venue and like film a special. Even if it's not bad, it's just kind of like a funny concept and idea. I don't think anybody's ever done anything like that in comedy. So that was like the idea, but like my heart's just not in it anymore. Now that he and I aren't working together, I'm just kind of like, you know, I'm just going to do my own thing, do the podcast, support the community.
I mean, I know what you're talking about, like when it's scripted. When I first started out, like, I was nervous. I had my jokes written out on a piece of paper, and I'd be outside, like, just reading it line after line. Like,
trying to get them memorized in the brain. Oh, shit.
And then you go on stage, and you say just like that. And nowadays...
This is how I say my jokey joke to you. Ha ha. Like, shit.
Right, and you give them the cue, laugh.
Yeah. You should have laughed. Like, shit.
I mean, if you ever do it again, honestly, I wouldn't practice memorizing. I would practice... the concept, the idea of it, what it is you want to talk about, and just keynotes of that. That's how I do most of my jokes. I'm talking like when I'm doing a bit, like, oh, I'm gonna do the autistic bit, right? I start going through my head the parts of the autistic bit that I like and whatnot, and I just start talking like, okay, so autistic, blah blah, and I just leave. Like when I'm talking to your conversation, something pops up, I'm gonna say it, but I know where the punchline is, so I say everything to get to the punchline. Versus, I think this is how I get to the punchline. Doesn't matter. I'll go however, just get to the punchline.
Yeah.
So just, if you do it, relax, man. Let that ego soar.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't written it off completely, but like I do love doing this, and there's even times doing this where I surprise myself and I'm like, damn, that was funny. Just in the moment, you came up with that off. Like that's got to feel amazing when you're on stage and something just flies in your head and you run with it and it kills. You're just like,
oh, dude. There's some of my best writing comes from being on the stage. I have this new it's dumb and it's stupid, but I was doing some Mexican fun. I can't even talk. But I was doing my border.
Get it together.
I was doing my border hopping joke, right? I lead up to it, and I decided to change it. I'll make it a closer, right? My farewell. So I had to figure something else out because I was talking about like it sounds like I'm shitting on Mexicans and I'm not. And like I'm not, I do like Mexicans. I like Mexican food actually. I was in a Mexican restaurant last week and it was like the best burger of my life. and that's the joke, That's no one's expecting me to be like a burger at a Mexican joint, and it's dumb and it's stupid and it throws people off. And it worked so much, and it sucks that it's something that simple, but it works.
Right. Hey, I love it when it's simple.
Yeah.
Okay, so. You got anything you want to plug?
I'm doing September 1st, Hilarious 7 at the Oyo. So
hell yeah, great venue at the Oyo. Love that.
Okay, so August 22nd, I'm doing Matt Coleman Show at Taps and Barrel. It's me, Jake Wolf, Josh Ladaro, Brian Shenanigan, and Mike Krasner.
Great show.
Yeah.
Love Mike. We got some naturals on that show. You might even see me there at that one. Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude, come out, man. Come out. Definitely come out. People come out. If anybody wants to come out, it's a free show the August 22nd. So no excuse not to come.
I say it all the time. These are always at great venues. They're nice. They're usually at cool little bars. You can go have a nice dinner, have a couple drinks, enjoy some local comedy. I'm gonna put Johnny's socials up right here. Check that out. Go give him a follow. Thanks for checking with us as usual, and we'll see you on the next
Good night.
one.
So let's do some coke.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Thenaturalspod. Please remember to follow us on your Twitter and Instagram accounts at Thenaturalspod. Do you have what it takes to join the Natty Nation? Like and subscribe to find out.